This is the next morning. Well, begin your morning walk at the Campo dei Fiori. Early birds will be rewarded, for it's one of the only places in Rome that have something happening at about 6:30 in the morning, when the vendors are just setting up their stands. And there's several cafes around the Campo dei Fiori that are already pumping out that dark fuel to get you going. They open as early as 6 a.m. And so if you're an early bird, or if you're still waking up early from jet lag, do consider coming out to the Campo dei Fiori first thing in the morning. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning is when the workers start to get set up, and by 7 o'clock, 7:30, they really are open for business. So if you're an early bird, or if this is towards the beginning of your tour and you're experiencing some jet lag, perhaps waking up early, and you wake up at 5:30 in your hotel, there's really nothing going on in Rome at 6 a.m. except here at the Campo dei Fiori. This is really about the only place in town that has anything happening so early in the morning, as we watch everybody getting set up for their morning's work. So if your hotel doesn't serve breakfast until 7, come on over to the Campo dei Fiori. And then we drop by a fairly famous bakery. This is Roscoli, just a few blocks from the Campo dei Fiori, and of course they're open early, baking their fresh breads. They also have fresh pasta and a variety of cookies and other wonderful baked goods. Very friendly staff here.
My name is Helga.
They have dark breads, light breads, and they do speak a little bit of English. Not much, but as in most shops, enough to get by. You can make yourself known, maybe pick up a croissant or one of their other sweet treats.
It's my boss, Roscoli.
Oh, Mr. Roscoli. Hey. Okay.
Marco.
Marco. Okay, Marco. And the big kitchen.
Sì, quella è pizzeria, la pizza.
Brand new?
Sì.
This is normal. And Roscoli has recently expanded their facility so that they have a luncheon counter and various kinds of sandwiches and other sorts of takeout foods available.
Yeah, and the pasta,
Pasta?
macaroni,
Oh, fresh.
fat, yeah.
Uh-huh. And you have dark bread with nuts inside?
Yeah.
Walnuts?
Yeah.
By this time, it's about 7 o'clock, walking through these quiet streets, and we find that breakfast is served. So here's another meal. This is breakfast the next day at our Hotel Tiziano. Give it a try. But it's always nice to get together in the morning and have breakfast, talk about the day's activities. Tiziano breakfast is typical hearty meal. You've got ham and cheese and cereals, fresh fruits, yogurts, a lot of coffee, croissants, you name it. Great way to start the day. And our Hotel Tiziano gets their bread from the Roscoli Bakery that we were just visiting earlier this morning. Whole wheat bread, that's a wonderful treat. Rome has got some wonderful breads. It's most enjoyable to start the day with your fellow travelers and share coffee and break bread and chat about the upcoming day's activities. There's our Hotel Tiziano right in the center on Corso Vittorio Emanuele. It's only 2 blocks from the Campo dei Fiori, 3 blocks from the Pantheon. Terrific central location. Into taxis. Sometimes it helps to take a taxi if you want to get across town in a hurry. Today we are taking taxis first thing in the morning over to the Vatican Museum. We find that the Vatican Museum has become so popular that if you get there in mid-morning, it's too late. There'll be a long line. And midday, mid-afternoon, it's pretty crowded. So the best bet is take taxis over to the Vatican Museum right after breakfast and get there just before they open, passing Hadrian's tomb as we cross over the Tiber River and approaching St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican Museum is just around the corner. We find no line. We get right in as we prepare to visit this great museum. Well, inside the Vatican Museum, you cannot see everything, of course, and what you pick depends on your own personal interests. And then you can go out to see the Basilica of St. Peter's all in the morning. This wonderful spiral staircase used to be the main entrance, but now nobody ever knows about it because it's tucked away on the side behind the post office. The Vatican post office is a good place to mail your postcards because their service is a little quicker than the Italian post office, and it's very convenient. It's right here near the entrance to the Vatican Museum. You can buy a selection of postcards here. You can also buy the stamps, and then you have to mail it within the Vatican itself, and they've got convenient mailboxes. If you mail it in Rome downtown, it's not going to go anywhere because these stamps are specific to the Vatican. And curiously, there is one line for postcards only and another line if you wanted postcards with stamp. The Vatican Museum, most famous for the Sistine Chapel, contains thousands of other great treasures from ancient Rome and from the Middle Ages, even right on up through the Renaissance.
This particular statue here is called the Apollo Belvedere. It is just one of the finest pieces of art ever created. It's about 2,000 years old. It's actually a Roman version of a Greek original.
Notice the floor mosaics are works of art also.
And in the middle we have this huge marble basin.
And we carry on through various galleries in the Vatican Museum. There's hundreds and thousands of statues. Then you can look out the window from the Vatican Museum to the Papal Gardens, which are not generally open to the public. You do have to step up to the window to get this beautiful view.
And then in the next room, it's the map gallery, which has extravagant displays on the walls, frescoes of maps of different towns that Rome had conquered, different islands, and a beautiful ceiling painted in the time after Michelangelo in the late 16th century in the Mannerist style. So we're just going to walk all the way straight through it to the other end.
And then into the stanza of Raphael. Here's the School of Athens.
You see the two figures with Plato and Aristotle. Raphael didn't forget himself either. Raphael is right next to the fellow in the white. He put a self-portrait of himself into this painting.
And then into the Sistine Chapel, of course, the ceiling painted by Michelangelo, perhaps the greatest painting ever created.
It contains the scenes from the Bible. There's Genesis, there's the creation, certainly the most famous of all the panels. And the way Michelangelo was able to break up the ceiling into distinct clusters gives it a coherence and harmony that you wouldn't otherwise find. Originally the plan was just to paint a few scenes and then have a lot of architecture painted up there. But as Michelangelo got more and more into it, he still had that artistic passion to do it right, to do what was his inner voice was compelling him to do. And he kept working and working. He wouldn't let anybody come in to see it except the Pope could come in now and then and have a look at it. And then when it was finally revealed, the world was shocked. The Italian world was just overwhelmed and astonished at the beauty of this work.
Upon first entering St. Peter's, you're now directed into the crypt down below where the popes are buried. It's quite an impressive display. Well, St. Peter's Basilica is the most spectacular room ever built. No place else can even come in close second to this. You could easily spend the next hour admiring this vast, noble space with its 500 statues and 45 altars. You notice the many mosaic, thousands of tiny pieces of colored stone. They look like paintings from a distance. Everything is on a large scale here, even the putti. These angels are bigger than human size. Normally cupids are depicted as quite small little fellows, but here in St. Peter's, everything is bigger than life. It's always an impressive visit here in St. Peter's as we make our way out the door. As you leave St. Peter's out the right door exit, you generally have a nice view of the Swiss Guards. After visiting St. Peter's, you want to get back into the center of Rome. It's over a mile to walk it, so you can just take a taxi. There's a big taxi stand out front. Lots of taxis available now, and you'll be speeding on your way. Our next stop is going to be Andrea della Valle, another one of the great churches of the city. It has got impressive mirror that allows you to look at the ceiling without straining your neck. You've got to get around and see every nook and cranny when you go into a stupendous church like Andrea della Valle. Another Counter-Reformation masterpiece in the Baroque style, built in the late 1600s. Back in the Middle Ages and on through the Renaissance and the Baroque, the church was all powerful in Rome and throughout Italy, and was the great patron of the artists. Well, we've worked up yet another appetite. Fantastic Italian food in many of the restaurants, especially here at Ditirambo. They make their own fresh pasta. It's located near Campo dei Fiori in front of the Palazzo della Cancelleria, and it is a wonderful place. They make their pastas and breads right here on the location of the restaurant. Even the penne, the tubular pasta, is fresh and tasty, and really great service and friendly people here at Ditirambo. And the price is quite reasonable, like many of the restaurants in the city. We had a chance to talk with the owner, who briefed us in Italian about the restaurant.
Buongiorno, sono Dado del ristorante di Ditirambo in piazza La Cancelleria accanto a Campo dei Fiori.
He's telling us how they make the foods from scratch right here in this fine Roman kitchen, including the raviolis, lasagnas, and the sweets. Well, don't worry if your waiter doesn't speak English. You can read ravioli, lasagna, spaghetti, and pasta, no problem. A great way to end another perfect day.